First of all, welcome. Great to have you all here, both our newcomers and our regular townsfolk. It's great to have everybody with us today. I used this gavel on purpose. This gavel was made from a former floorboard that used to be part of the covered bridge, which is around the corner behind me. We had a project where we invited local artists to take a board and make something out of it. And then we did a display last year at the newcomers team. So this is one of the relics remaining, so we're using this here for that. So that's one of the many things that the Cornwall Association does. So on behalf of them, we'd love to say welcome. I'm one of the co-secretaries. On behalf of Gary and myself, we're thrilled to have you all here. It's a great group of people. And what we decided to do this year was lots of stuff. First of all, if you'd like to sit at all, there's chairs, and I think we might offer our newcomers the opportunity to sit first because we're being
I'll move away from a chair. I don't need a chair, I just need a chair. Holes are good. Chairs are at home. No, you're wrong. We have two more chairs over here. You might want to go like them or move them. Roxanna, would you like a chair? We've got one over here. Okay, I just want to step one there.
So we hope everyone had an opportunity to sign in. Thank you, that's great. We are a very unique community. We have lots of different activities, organizations, and very colorful people. Oh, come on in, please. Thank you.
Masquerading as newcomers.
So we have some people with all sorts of different kinds of name tags. First of all, our newcomers all have the blue hello with the lovely little heart on them, so we can show you our appreciation for being here. All of us with the Cornwall Association, who are your hosts tonight, say Cornwall Association on the bottom. And then the different organizations that are represented, they have a tag that has a little red framing around it. And I'm going to give a brief intro of each organization and let them speak for a minute. And trust me, it'll be a minute, because otherwise I'll give them the hook. And then before we leave today, two parts. One is we have a gift bag for our newcomers, and we have tons of stuff in them, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then today is also our Paint the Churches, or your sacred space in Cornwall. And that's going on as we speak. And the exhibition of the artwork, whether it's paintings or sculpture or whatever anyone has done today or in the past few weeks, will be on display right next door at the Souterrain Gallery, which is part of the Wish House. So we'll help you do all that. There'll be wine and snacks over there as well. So to start with, I would like to start with the town of Cornwall, and she also happens to be the president of the Cornwall Association. From a small town in Rhode Island, Priscilla moved to Manhattan.
This is a date.
And became a Cornwall weekender in '75 and a full-timer in '92. I'm going to stop there because that happens a lot. My husband and I moved up here 5 years ago as weekenders, and we thought, oh, you know, maybe every other weekend, maybe every third weekend. Wrong. We spent the entire summer here and haven't been back to New York. So it grows on you. It really does. We're not ready to give up the city completely yet, but you'll love being up here. Priscilla has taught at Syracuse University and now enjoys selling real estate in Litchfield County. So, Priscilla.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm the one that I expect that when I go to the dump, which I do 2 or 3 times a week, you'll come up and say, now Priscilla, what I'd like the town to do is. And I will listen to you, and I will try to get it done. I'm running for re-election. This is not a campaign speech. But just to tell you that I've enjoyed being a selectman for the last 2 years. Almost as much as I've enjoyed being a Cornwallian. I came from a small town, grew up showing Holsteins at the state fairs, and always had dogs. And now I'm pestering the little guild because my last dog died in January, and I need a new 100 pounds of wagging tail. So, but welcome to Cornwall. We're so glad you're here.
Great. Thank you, Priscilla. So to talk about the Housatonic Valley Association is Dick Sears. He's recently retired from the HVA, where he was the development director for 11 years. He and his wife, Brenda Singer, who is hiding over here in the corner and is one of our Cornwall Association board members and helped put this together. They live in Cornwall Bridge and they love living up here. So Dick Sears.
Thank you. In a minute, well, you're lucky I retired. I don't have to ask you for money. Done with that. Thank you much. Welcome. So glad you're here. What a great group we have of new folks, and our I represent Housatonic Valley Association. This is all you need to know. I don't have to say much more in a minute. HVAtoday.org. This is my audio visual. What is HVA? It's a watershed protection organization. It's probably the second oldest in the country. We protect the Housatonic River Valley from where the river is born above Pittsfield. We are here at the center point of the river all the way down to Long Island Sound. Been in business over 78 years. And we work with all the land trusts and all the water protection groups in the area. So take a look at HVA. We need volunteers, we need supporters, and we're a larger environmental organization. The second thing I wanted to say, separate, is that in your packet you'll see a little brochure about Greenwood's Counseling Referrals. I'm a volunteer trustee on the local counseling service board. It's a referral agency for mental health issues. We all have them. If you ever need help, look at the brochure. We're an agency that covers all of Litchfield County. We give fast referrals to everyone with no cost if that's necessary. So anyway, end of my speech.
Thank you. Perfect. Well done. So 2 of our churches are represented with us here today. First, from the United Church of Christ, we have Mickey Nunn-Miller. She's lived and worked in Cornwall for 15 years, serves on various boards and committees in town. And by the way, that is a recurring theme you'll find. We're a small community, so we often wear 2 or 3 different hats, but it's a great way to keep us all together. And she's also chaplain on the Cornwall Volunteer Fire Department. Mickey Nunn-Miller.
Thank you. Welcome everybody, new folks. I see new faces. We're glad you're here. And I'll just say briefly on behalf of the church that if you're a church-going type, we do have worship on Sundays at 10 in the big white church by the town green. And we have church school starting with age 3, where we endeavor to teach children about God's love and about sharing with others. Those are the 2 main foci of our church school. If you're not a church-going type, that's okay too, because we do an awful lot in Cornwall with a focus on enhancing community and enhancing opportunities to serve others, because we seek a just world for all. So we have a brochure in there. You'll see some of those opportunities. One of our big goals is to create more community, and Cornwall's a place with a lot of community already, and we offer opportunities to enhance that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to talk to me afterwards. My wife Diane is here also. She's on the fire department. Oh, they're getting to you? Oh, Anyway, we are very welcomed in Cornwall and in our church. We got married in the UCC, and our church, no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey and the faith journey of life, you're welcome to stick a toe in with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. One of my personal favorites, and maybe I'm not supposed to say that, is our wonderful town library. The Cornwall Library is just an amazing resource for all sorts of things. Margaret Hask is the director at the moment. She and her husband moved to Cornwall 23 years ago to raise their Okay, excuse me while I change feet. She's our wonderful director of the Cornwall Library since 2013, and hopefully will be with us for another 30 or 40 years. Margaret. I dig myself out.
Hi everyone. I do recognize some of you. I think some of you have been in the library, and I'd like to invite everybody else who hasn't been to come to the library. We do have, for a town this small, a really exciting, wonderful library. We have a big collection. We have access to 80 or 90 other libraries' collections through interlibrary loan. We have Wi-Fi and coffee and a copier and a fax machine we can scan. We're a full-service library. And we also have a tremendous number of events. Last year we had 7 art exhibitions, I think 7 author talks. We had a couple of major things, a garden tour, a big townwide party, We had, right now, we're offering a seminar on voting rights in the United States by a local historian. That's very interesting. And we have a series going on about Keats. And we have a film series in the winter. It goes on and on. And we have some children's activities. We had some, what is that?
2 book sales.
2 book sales. 2 books, it's hard to say everything that we do. We're really so busy. We do so many things in our little library. And it's a very comfortable building. It's a newer building. It's warm and bright in the winter, and it's cool in the summer. And I hope you drop by. We will always be happy to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. A recurring theme here in our wonderful region is conservation, and that also includes preserving land so that it can't be developed, and also to have it available for all of us to go do hiking, hunting, whatever it is we like to do in the wonderful outdoors. Representing the Cornwall Conservation Trust, who by the way is our host at the moment in this lovely building, is Bart Jones. He's president of the trust and is active in and on the board of several regional conservation groups. He and his wife Debbie have had a home in Cornwall since 1983.
1983, right.
Bart Jones.
Welcome to Cornwall Conservation Trust's world headquarters. About 30, I'm going to cover 2 topics and offer an invitation. First topic, what is Cornwall Conservation Trust? 32 years ago, a group of Cornwall residents decided it was important to preserve the unique rural character of Cornwall that attracted everyone who's here in the first place to come here. And they formed an independent, not-for-profit corporation called Cornwall Conservation Trust, Inc. We're governed by a 14-person board. We have 3 part-time staff. We have recently become accredited by the Land Trust Alliance. It's sort of like the good housekeeping of land trusts. That's who we are. What do? We preserve forests, farmland, and open space in Cornwall, and we've come a long way in 32 years. We have conserved about 2,000 acres. A fun fact, Cornwall is 46 square miles, Manhattan is 22 square miles. The population of Cornwall is 30 people per square mile. The population of Manhattan is 73,000 per square mile. Just a comparison. So we've saved about 2 times the size of Central Park. Central Park's about 800 acres. We own about 1,700 acres. And we have another 400 acres where we hold conservation easements. It's owned by a private person, but it can't be developed. How do we do it? Part of it is donated. 150-acre preserve, the Day Preserve, right above Little Guild, was donated by Frances Sales Day, given to the Conservation Trust. Turns out, small world, she was the great aunt of one of my college roommates, totally unrelated. I'd never been in Cornwall until 1983. The other way we do it is to buy it, and another example of that is Trinity Preserve. It's 715 acres. The entrance is up on top of Dibble Hill. Cost $715,000. We got private donations of $250,000 and state and federal grants of about $460,000. Amazingly, an anonymous donor who didn't even live in Cornwall gave us $200,000 to preserve that. So that's who we are, an independent because sometimes we're confused with the Cornwall Conservation Commission, which is part of the town. We are independent and privately funded, and we depend on Cornwall residents for not only their moral support, but also their financial support. And so here's the invitation. Take a hike. Hike on one of our many trails. We have about 10 preserves that we have trails on, and the one I would recommend to start with is Ballyhack. Ballyhack, back in the 1800s, I'm told, was a favorite picnic place of people in Cornwall. It's where 125 and Dibble Hill meet, and it has the 5th largest pine tree in Connecticut, and it has an amazing geological structure, a gorge that goes down through the middle of it. It's almost 150 feet deep. Start there and then get out and enjoy the beauty of Cornwall. So thank you for coming.
In the gift bag you'll be receiving, there's a flyer from every organization that you're hearing from, almost everyone, I think. So you'll get more information there. They'll have their websites, info at, or whatever all you need to contact them. Plus, afterwards, we're going to mingle a little bit more, and you can just go right up and talk with them. They'd be happy to share information. Representing the other church that we're presenting today is Bob Pohl from St. Peter's Lutheran Church. He's been a pastor in the Lutheran Church for 47 years. Before coming to Cornwall in 2010, he served in Illinois, Massachusetts, and Florida, and he and his wife Anne-Marie recently bought a home in North Canaan. Bob, thank you.
Maggie and I are both wearing plaids, it's just slightly different.
Slightly different plaid, but
And that's the
plaid
plaid of the big
nevertheless.
white church on the green, this is the plaid of the small little white church on the green. It's good to be here, it's good to know that folks are moving in. Living in North Canaan and having been pastor here for 9 years and commuting back and forth, there's a wonderful asset to the folks of Cornwall, which I'm hoping you're starting to experience. You're seeing some of it here today. People working together, people reaching out to each other, and everybody's still kind of being pretty independent and doing their thing as they want, which is part of probably what brought you here to begin with. And just know our church is there. We also have services at 10 o'clock. Occasionally we have services together. We also have a Sunday school that meets at 10 o'clock for kids 3 years up. And you know, I'd like to say too that for myself, and I think I can speak for all the clergy in town, you know, many of you are part of a generation that's not really churchy. And that's cool, but you still have a spiritual nature. And if there's any way we can help foster that, it doesn't have to be on Sunday morning at our church. You know, make it available. My phone number is on our answering machine. You'll have the phone number on the brochure. So if you need to call me at home, you can do that. But we want to be here for you, and so welcome to all of you.
We have a childcare center here in Cornwall, and Amy Martinez is here from the Cornwall Childcare Center. She's been in early childhood education for over 28 years, worked in classrooms with infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, and moved into management 10 years ago. She's director here and is passionate about providing the best care for our youngest population. Amy?
Hello. This is the third time I had a talk in the last couple of weeks, and I always get a little more, there's more people over there. I always get a little more nervous because that's my audience right there. He's my audience, and as you can see, moving and doing all that. Anyway, Cornwall Child Center, we're a nonprofit organization that was, I think, founded in the 1970s. We're located up on Cream Hill. We're a year-round program. We also take in families that are visiting from New York. We had a few families just for our summer program, so we do a separate 8-week summer program. We service children, 8 weeks to 5 years. In the summer, we extend out a little bit by a couple of years. So, but anybody visiting, please pass that word that they're more than welcome to come to our summer program. But we are year-round. We service the youngest population here in the Cornwall area and surrounding towns. We are accredited through the National Association of the Education of Young Children. Just shows that we're dedicated to providing the best quality care that we can. This is my profession. I'm not a babysitter. We are an educational program. We have educated, qualified staff, so I just want to put that little plug there too. We also are a United Way organization. So United Way in Northwest Connecticut that helps us to go and get some grant money and funding for scholarships. So any family that is in need for extra funding or any other assistance with childcare can come see us too, and we give out scholarship programs. And that's pretty much us, I think. I think. This is what we're. Thank you.
So you're lucky we're over we're halfway through, so we're almost there. So representing our four-legged friends, and you've seen them all over town, and they are all welcome, and we all love our pets. John Gunther from the Little Guild. Since 2015, he's been president. The largest animal rescue organization in Northwest Connecticut. You can often see him walking Little Guild dogs around Cornwall.
We're running.
And please don't run over him because he's very dedicated and we really need him. He also runs in the shelter's annual Run and Wag 5K each October, which is, I believe, coming up.
3 weeks.
He's also a managing director at BNY Mellon, specializing in communications. John Gunther.
So, Little Guild of St. Francis sounds like it's a retreat for nuns, which is really what I just wanted to be here to, demystify that. It needs to be your first port of call for adopting. We need more volunteers. We always need financial support. And again, we do wackily, funny activities like the Great Country Mutt Show and the Run and Wag 5K, which could only happen in Cornwall. And I'll leave you with one little fact. That we've never publicized. Meryl Streep once donated 10,000 meals to dogs and cats to the Little Guild. She also was in there shopping for cats. So if you support us or you come in to adopt, you can actually walk in Meryl Streep's shoes. So, thank you and welcome.
I know, it's great. We have a dog and it's just, you'll love it. So with the Cornwall Foundation is Rob Lacey. He and his family came to Cornwall as weekenders in 2002. Guess what? They're here now. Returns to NYC for his studies in philosophy at Columbia University. He is a board member and holds various offices with the Cornwall Village Improvement Society, Cornwall Conservation Trust, the Coltsfoot Valley Association, and the Cornwall Foundation. Rob Lacey. There you are.
The Cornwall Foundation tries to improve the quality of life by making small grants, typically $1,000 or $2,000, to nonprofit organizations or civic entities. This is designed to allow the very dedicated volunteers and people who work for the town and the schools to do things they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. The best way to tell you what we do is to give you a list of recent grants, although I can say that most of the organizations you've heard from this afternoon have received grants from us. We've made grants to the Cornwall Agricultural Commission for a beekeeping workshop. We've made grants to the Cornwall Chronicle. If you haven't found the Cornwall Chronicle yet, you need to know about it. But we've provided funding for their website. We made grants to the Cornwall Food Bank. We made grants to the Cornwall Historical Society for a bunch of special conservation issues. We provided funding for the tent for the Great Country Mutt Show for the Little Guild. We make grants for large organizations for special projects like the Cornwall Consolidated School, the Housatonic Youth Services Bureau, Special Olympics of Connecticut, and we provided funding to the town of Cornwall for an air quality monitoring device to keep track of the pollution that would be produced by the Cricket Power Plant over. When the organization was set up, I think the founders believed that some wealthy person would die and endow this organization so it would simply give away money forever. That has never happened. We have a small endowment, we give away a little bit of investment income, but almost all of the money we give away, we try to give away about $20,000 a year. We have to raise through contributions, and our solicitation for contributions will go out next month.
We actually can be a bit dramatic and occasionally very theatrical, and one of those examples is the Crumbling Griffins. We have Leslie Elias here today from the Crumbling Griffins. They're a not-profit educational theater company providing interactive theater arts workshops and performances for families throughout Connecticut. Winner of the Connecticut Arts Award, the Crumbling Griffins holds an annual theater arts camp for children each summer at Cornwall Town Hall. Artistic Director Leslie Elias was recently awarded the Connecticut Arts Hero Award and the Northwest Corner Culture Max Award for Arts Educator. Leslie.
Well, I feel very fortunate to live in Cornwall, and I just love this town. It's beautiful, and I came here through a friendship through Tim and Marie Prentice. I was in a dance class with Marie years ago, and life just began when I met them, because the richness and caring community here continues on and on, so I feel honored to be part of this community. I co-founded Crumbling Griffins in 1980 in New York City, and upon moving to Cornwall, proceeded to make this the home base. But we do things in Cornwall. We do a summer camp every summer for decades, where kids take part from little ones up through teens, and even adults are in it. And every year after the camp, Ellen Mood, who was our phenomenal mask maker, comes in with a giant puppet, and we go out, we spill out to the town, dance with the puppet, and I bring in a beautiful band, the Berkshire Stompers. They're wonderful, and the kids parade with their masks they've made and their instruments. And so we do summer camps and also after school at Cornwall Consolidated. And now we're working on a grant that I wrote to the state for 3 schools, Sharon, Lee Kellogg, and Cornwall, to come together after school and do an intergenerational show at Gear and possibly Noble Horizons. So that will be happening in December, and I'll let everybody know when it will be at the school and at Gear. But meanwhile, I'm grateful for being in this town, and I just want to put a little plug in for Alice, nothing to do with Crumbling Griffins. Alice Wolf, formerly Cadwell, teaches a fantastic movement Pilates class every Tuesday and Thursday morning at the library from 8:30 to 9:30. And I know there are great yoga classes there too, but Alice's class is my personal favorite, and I recommend people coming. So thank you and welcome newcomers.
I have to get one of my audiovisual aids. Representing the Cornwall Consolidated School, they are K through 8, is Jennifer Law. Jenny is the interim principal for CCS and a 35-year veteran educator, having taught in Salisbury, North Canaan, and Cornwall. And she's currently serving as principal in Falls Village, so she's kind of juggling her time. Lives in Salisbury, where she raises chickens, sheep, and honeybees. Jennifer Law.
Hello, everybody. Just one correction, and maybe I wrote that wrong. I was the principal in Falls Village. I am no longer. The last 2 years I taught at Cornwall Consolidated School, and then I retired in June. And then the principal of Cornwall left in August, and so they've hired an interim. So it is for now, Margaret. I'll take that role that somebody put on you there, but for now I'm the principal. But they will be doing a search, the board will be doing a search, and they'll be finding somebody to take the job permanently starting next year. And I'm sharing the job with another woman, Pat Carvello. So if anybody wants to call the school or needs to call the schools or wants to come to visit the school, either she or I will be there to help you. So Cornwall is a wonderful school. I feel like in my 35-year career in Region 1, probably one of the best things that happened to me was 2 years in Cornwall, the last 2 years, because I feel incredibly fortunate to have been able to experience firsthand working in this town and at that school. So it is truly a community school. It's a small K-8 with currently 87 students. And we have a few things that I feel like are really signatures for the school, and one of them is multi-age grouping, which I think is a wonderful way to teach children. And so we have a K through 2 group, a 3-4 group, and then we consider our middle school 5 through 8, and that includes some 5-8 groupings, some 5-6 groupings, some 7-8 groupings. And then we also have some K-8 groupings in some of the more social opportunities at the school. We embrace many student leadership opportunities in our school, and that's not me, is it? No, okay. Many student leadership opportunities in the school for some of our older students, or for all of our older students, which is wonderful. And then we are truly a community school, and we welcome the participation of all members of the Cornwall community. And we have parents and other community members as well. You don't need to be a parent in the school that come in and help with special events, maybe be a guest teacher, also are involved in committees, and it is truly a wonderful school, and I'm blessed to be a part of it, so thank you.
So we have a double header for you, representing both the Cornwall Women's Society, and trust me, you have to know the story behind that, and the Cornwall Housing Corporation. A lifelong summer resident, Maggie Cooley, moved here full-time in 1977 to raise her family. Maggie.
I realize that I'm probably like the oldest resident here. I arrived in 1939 in utero.
Where is that town?
It's a little part of Cornwall you don't know.
The Women's Society is probably the group of people that you can't imagine how so many extremely old people can do so much. Our main focus is the rummage sale, which happens in July every year, the third weekend in July. It takes 2 weeks of preparation, 3 mad days of selling, and about an additional week of cleaning up. And all the money that we make goes to either post-secondary scholarships for Cornwall kids going on to do other things, or grants, smaller grants to various nonprofits in town. There are 3 ways you can help. One is by working as a volunteer in the lead up to the rummage sale and at the rummage sale. The second is by saving up your things till July and giving them to us to resell. It's a huge recycling event. And the third is by coming to buy. Everybody is probably wearing something that they got at the rummage sale.
Great scarves.
Yeah,
Lots of
everything.
scarves.
Okay, that's the Women's Society. And you're also welcome to join. You kind of have to be a woman, but there's no rules.
And it is woman
Society, and I don't know why, but that's the way it is.
A quirky word of it.
It all works, it all works.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maggie.
So, the Housing Corporation.
Oh, right, oh, right, yeah, sorry, you're right, absolutely. You got 2 minutes. You got a minute for one and a minute for the other. We're being very strict.
The Cornwall Housing Corporation, there's a handout for the new people which describes all the things we do, so I won't spend time on those. The purpose of the Cornwall Housing Corporation is to maintain housing opportunities for people who can't meet the land costs or building costs anymore as they exist in town. The enemies of housing for everybody in Cornwall is the tremendous leap in real estate values over the past 25 to 30 years. Just absolutely knocked the possibilities out of people's reach. And after that, the ridiculous cost of things like septic and water supply, which are irrationally maintained by the powers that be. We won't get into that. But we do raise money shamelessly, and I think that's probably the only way people can help us is by giving to us or by coming on the board. We welcome new members. We are not superannuated the way we are at the Women's Society, and you're all welcome to learn more about it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So a little bit of a wrap up. So we are the Cornwall Association.
Fire department.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
The
sorry.
other half. That other half.
Representing both the Cornwall Volunteer Fire Department
You only
and
have 30 seconds.
We're doing 2 things, that's 2 minutes.
our
Grand
Emergency Management
finale.
Director, Diane Beam.
I'm going to say something.
Yeah, so
I think-
Cornwall Volunteer Fire Department is exactly that. It is totally volunteer. We welcome everyone and
That's
anyone.
right.
We have a number of roles that we do. We have obviously the fire side. So you have, fail to clean out that chimney and something bad happens, we're going to be showing up at the door to help you out. We also have an EMS side, so emergency medical. We have EMTs and EMRs on site, available 24/7. It is volunteer. I do work full-time, but I manage to get out there when I can.
That's why we encourage folks to check it out. October 20th is going to be an open house at the firehouse. So you're going to see 2 firehouses in town. There's one in West Cornwall, just up the road, and then there's another one in Cornwall Bridge. And we split up our equipment there, and all of our personnel are spread out around the town. I'm also the town's emergency management director. So my job is to make sure, and as I stand here and I like look at different exits and how many people we have in the room and stuff like that, I think about the services that are needed by all of our folks in town to make sure in the event of a disaster, and most often that would be weather related, we tend to be very self-sufficient in Cornwall. You know, so many of you probably have already thought about generators. It's still something that is important for myself and for all of our emergency personnel, that we know what we need to do to keep you safe, that we're able to create a shelter, that we have a place for pets. I'm part of the Connecticut's, it's called the State Animal Response Team. So my job is, in the event that our town needs assistance with their pets, that we're able to set up a temporary shelter if there's no room in other locations. Okay, I also teach Sunday school, so I'm going to put in a big plug right now for being a volunteer in this town. Since moving to Cornwall, I've actually, this isn't a plug for me, but it's what can happen despite working full-time. I've received the President's Service Award for Volunteer Service Award for the last 4 years. It's what this town does for people and for people. It makes you, I don't know, reach out, be incredibly engaged, and there are tons and tons of opportunities. All of these different groups that have spoken before I have, every one of them have an opportunity. We haven't heard from the Chronicle.
Correct. That's nice.
So I won't steal their thunder, but I do write and edit for the Chronicle too. So you can squeeze it in, and we look forward to it. So do consider checking out the Volunteer Fire Department, or any other interest that you might have with the groups that are here. Thank you.
Did we have a representative from the Chronicle here?
Yes.
Paul's here.
Yes.
I'm president of the board of directors of the Chronicle, and we're always looking for good writers, good editors, and even just interested writers and editors. Because we know how to edit, so please get in touch with me if you're interested in that.
So
Or if you have a good story that you think should be told.
if you don't actually have a physical mailbox at your property, that's no problem. The post offices and the library all have copies of the Cornwall Chronicle. The new October version just came out, so I apologize. It's the September one you'll get in your gift bag. But this magic little thing here at the bottom is the calendar. And there is tons of stuff on the calendar, great events and articles, and the flyers about, oh, we're having, gee, the newcomers tea. Isn't that interesting? So, or you can go online. We're all attempting to become very digital these days. So there's the cornwallchronicle.org, there's the cornwallassociation.org, and last but not least is cornwallconnecticut.org, cornwallct.org. They maintain our town's website. It's not run by the town, it's run by a group of volunteers. They're a very dedicated group that tries to keep information flowing. Richard Griggs here, who is filming, posts all of these videos. He records all of the town meetings as well and posts those on that website. So if you can't make it to a meeting and would like to know what's going on, all those videos are resourced there, so you can always look up that kind of stuff.
And Casey might point out that the Cornwall Association originally bought the camera equipment that Richard holds on to physically, but is available to anyone who has an event that they want to record.
Right.
And so we like
Anybody wants to use this camera, they're more than welcome.
Excellent.
I've done almost 500 videos in Cornwall of different events and selectmen's meetings. It's very important for that.
Absolutely. And so, as you can see, we're a very volunteer-driven community. Lots of volunteers. We're on numerous organizations. We love it. We enjoy it. Hope you will too. Feel free to mingle and go up to anyone you'd like to ask more questions of. And following this is the art opening. We're going to have an art exhibition starting at 5:30 across the driveway here at the Souterrain Gallery. for our Paint the Churches or Your Sacred Space in Cornwall, which has been going on today and the past couple of days.
And please, if you have not signed in, would you please
Oh yeah, we
do
have
that?
some later comers.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
Lori.
a couple comments about what you're seeing on the back table. The bag of apples there is from a newcomer from a couple years ago, and, oh, there he is, there's one half of the newcomers. Those are unsprayed apples from a very old Cornwall orchard that used to have the turkey farm. So if anyone would like to take some and make some great applesauce out of them, those are theirs for you. Please also take apples. Those are from Ellsworth Hill and the other bowl, which is right up the road, which is also started by another Cornwall man. Bill Vitalis started Ellsworth many, many years ago and is a great resource for apples and home baked goods up the road. The market in Cornwall Bridge has provided the cookies. They were right out of the oven at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So again, fill your pockets, take some with you. We all say here we don't like leftovers, so please enjoy them, and thank you for the donations as well.
So for the newcomers, those folks with those lovely little hearts, each family will get one of these lovely new gift bags that we have, and there's so much stuff in here, I can't even begin to go through it all, but each of the organizations who spoke has a flyer or represented, and groups that aren't here are also represented in here, so feel free. There's also several coupons. Some of the vendors have said, hey, how about $5 off for your first visit to my shop? So you'll find, or $10, or discounts, etc. So we tried to do a good job to welcome you all this time around.
Oh, also, this is also Jane Harold Pottery, where these apples came from. She is a great potter, and she's now made the old Hoff Farm into her studio. She's donated this, and so I'm going to ask all the newcomers, put your name in there, we'll draw a name, and you can take this home with you. So please put your name in.
And you thought you could get away easy and be quiet and shy and hide in the corner, but we're not going to let you get away with that. So could just very
Lock the
quickly
door.
invite each of our newcomers to introduce themselves and just say which town you live in so we all know who you are. Sir?
Oh,
Oh, yes.
hi. I'm Rebecca Doring. I live in Cornwall Bridge.
Oh, welcome.
Thanks.
Sir?
I'm Chris Doring, I'm Rebecca's husband, I live in Cornwall Bridge also.
That's great. I'm glad you live in the same place. That's a lot. Sir?
Robert Adzima, West Cornwall.
Oh, welcome. In the back.
I'm Bill Berry. We moved to West Cornwall to a house we built about 25 years ago from North Carolina. We built it as a retirement home, and we figured if we didn't use it pretty quick, it wouldn't fulfill that purpose.
Great idea. Welcome. Anyone else?
Yeah. Andrew Cedric and my wife's somewhere around here, Eva Barnes, and we live in West Cornwall.
Oh, welcome.
And the Woods home, I don't know if you know the Woods.
Some people here do, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the back?
I'm Lena Paul, and we live in Stein. We're newly married.
Yes.
And we live at the La Bombs in West Cornwall.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Welcome. Sir?
Yeah, my name is Kevin Reinhardt. I recently moved into 19 Railroad Street right here in West Cornwall, so my commute was pretty quick. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
Really.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Couple in the back?
I'm Roy Masterson, and we live right here in West Cornwall.
Oh, excellent.
I'm his wife Nancy. We live right on Smith Place, across from the post office.
Oh, perfect. Very convenient. Excellent. Sir, right here in the front?
I'm Laurie's grandfather, and he lives on Pierce Lane.
Ah, okay.
What's his name?
Laurie, like
Laurie.
Lawrence.
Okay,
And I'm Tracy, I'm Laurie's mom, and it's my husband, Rob.
Excellent. And do we have any others hiding in the corner?
I don't think so.
Well, again, welcome everybody.
I'm Dave Stefko. I can attest the cookies are really good. I live in New Haven County actually, but passing through and know the area very well. Hoping that something goes up in that old house on I don't know Main Street, but the main strip there.
Pink House.
Just down there.
It isn't pink anymore, but we call it the Pink House. Well, there's history in just about everything. Did I miss anyone? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Hi,
ma'am.
that's Carolyn Fugier, West Cornwall.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you all here. So we have gift bags for all of you. We would love to have you mingle, ask questions, talk with all of us. Some of our board may descend upon you and invite you to meet other people. And you can join any of these great organizations or just enjoy the fruits of their labors that make our town what a terrific place it is to live. So thank you all for coming, and we'll move over to the gallery in a little while. Thank you.